Please welcome to the stage the first trans state legislator in Vermont history, Vermont State Representative Taylor Small.
Picture this. It's May 2020. I'm standing in my living room in full and fabulous drag, getting ready to host an online queer trivia. Because what else are you supposed to do during a global pandemic? I receive a call from then State Representative Diana Gonzalez, the first and only out queer woman of color that has served in the Vermont State Legislature. She was calling to ask if I would run for office as she was planning to step down. And prior to this conversation, I had no plan to run for office. And the only other trans person that I saw rise to the challenge in Vermont was former gubernatorial candidate Christine Hallquist, who lost but ran a close race. Just a couple weeks later, I received a call from Virginia superstar, I mean delegate, Danica Roem. And her first question to me was, "Are you connected to Victory Fund yet?" Victory Fund was the only organization that helped me run as an empowered and authentic trans woman. And they were there every step of the way. From fundraising, to mailers, to building my campaign plane while flying it, again, through a global pandemic. And their support didn't stop there. After winning my first election, Victory chose me to be a member of their Empowerment Fellowship for 2021, which provided me the full crash course of campaign and candidate training. The connections I have made through Victory led me and empowered me to pass legislation in my first year to ban the use of the LGBTQ+ panic defense in Vermont, with unanimous support from the House, Senate, and even our Republican governor. And in my second year, I led the charge to reduce barriers for Vermonters to amend their birth certificates to appropriately reflect their gender identity. On top of that, at last year's Victory Institute conference, I learned even more about how to combat anti-LGBTQ rhetoric and bills, which continue to be introduced at what feels like an exponential rate. I was able to meet Senator Megan Hunt, that's right, who continues to model for us all why representation matters and why it is important that we, our community, has a seat at the table. As Vermont's first and only female governor, Madeleine Kunin, once said, "If you don't have a seat at the table, you're on the menu." And let me make it clear, I refuse to be on the menu. You know, people often hail Vermont as a progressive and accepting state. And don't get me wrong, for the most part, we are. I mean, just last month, my city of Winooski became the second city in the nation to have a fully LGBTQ city council, except for the mayor. And we did this by showing the power of authentic leadership and with unwavering support from the Victory Fund. But hate does not recognize boundaries. Even Vermont saw its first piece of anti-trans legislation introduced this year. However, I am proud to say that my advocacy and visibility in the State House ensured that this bill was dead on arrival. But extremists are not stopping at legislation. They are now coming after our lawmakers as well. This week, Montana's first trans state lawmaker, Zoe Zephyr, was silenced after speaking out against an anti-trans bill. She is now barred from giving floor speeches for the rest of the session and could even face censure. Earlier this year, the first out non-binary state lawmaker, Mauree Turner, in Oklahoma, was also censured after standing up against an anti-trans bill. The erosion of democracy is a threat to our community, a threat to all of us. But there is still hope, as it is an honor for me today to share the stage with the person who is responsible for a landmark bill here in our nation. Of course, that is U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin. Last year, I know many of us, were worried about whether the Supreme Court would reconsider marriage equality. Under Tammy's leadership, that is not something we have to worry about anymore. Senator Baldwin, you may not know this, but I was there at the White House that day when President Biden signed the Respect for Marriage Act. Okay, not only was I there, but I also got engaged. So from the bottom of my heart, and I think I can speak for all of us and so many in this room, thank you. Thank you. Yes. My work in the Vermont legislature, Danica's work in Virginia, Senator Baldwin's work in Congress would not have been possible without the support from the folks in this very room. And I would not be here today if it was not for Victory Fund. While we have made progress, the stakes of this election could not be higher. We need all of you in this fight. All right, folks, might be a little early, but it's time for the ask. I'll say it. So, fill up that glass, grab a pen and pitch card, or you can click on that link that came to you, through the text message on your phone, and let's get ready to give. Because despite a record number of anti-LGBTQ laws, more LGBTQ plus leaders continue to step up and run for office. Last year, for the first time in our nation's history, Victory supported over 500 LGBTQ plus candidates, and 71% of them won. You all, the people in this room, made that happen. However, the attacks against our community are growing. We know this, we see this. And the attacks against our candidates are growing as well. And Victory is the only organization working down ballot to make sure LGBTQ people are able to win and have that seat at the table. Today, I'm asking for your help again. This year, Victory Fund will endorse over 150 candidates. They're running for school boards, city councils, and state legislatures across the United States. And all of them need your help to win on Election Day. Okay, I see some of you raising a glass and maybe not the pen that I asked you to. I really want to see more of you picking up that pen and starting to write that wonderful donation that you're going to make. I mean, there are even some lovely volunteers walking around the room. Volunteers, please raise your hand, even higher than you are right now. They need your cards. They need your love. So please, give them one. Because here's what we know. The bigots are not taking a break, so neither can we. I want to ask everyone in this room, and yes, I mean everyone, please take out your phones or pick up one of those pledge cards on your table, or you can scan the QR code on the tent on your table, or you can respond to that text message I told you about earlier, and let's make sure you can hold up that pledge card high and proud for our volunteers to come and collect. And if you're not quite sure yet, take a moment. Have a few more sips of champagne if you want to. Think about the fact that to reach equal representation, we must elect over 35,000 LGBTQ plus leaders to office. 35,000. Everyone here has the ability to join this fight and make a difference. Whether your gift is $50 or $5,000, every gift that you make today will make a significant difference in our fight for equitable representation in public office. I know from personal experience how hard it is to run as an out LGBTQ+ person. But I also know that it was one of the most rewarding experiences that I have ever participated in. Victory Fund and supporters like you helped me win and helped me to get that seat at the table. So please consider supporting their great work so that we together can continue making progress. We won't stop until we have a seat at every table, in every school board, in every state legislature, and especially in the White House. Let's show bigots like Ron DeSantis that their hate will not defeat us. We refuse to be on the menu. Let's go win in 2023. Thank you all so much.